What do you think are the biggest obstacles to organising digitally for unions, and kind of how do you navigate that potential for surveillance and algorithmic suppression that can happen in workplaces? So I suppose you've got the challenge internally within unions around doing this kind of work, and then the kind of the challenge with the employers.
Yeah, for example, we have an employment where our website just doesn't seem to work if you're on their IT network and they can't use our join link. So, you know, if people are recruiting in that area, they have to say, hey, you need to disconnect from company Wi-Fi and do it on your phone. Something I did provide to the reps was a fillable PDF version of our membership form, just to make things a little bit easier for them, because if someone's out of their data for the month, they need another alternative. So, you know, that's been a challenge for us, particularly because it's somewhere where we're actually recognized. But yeah, I think as well, it's trying to balance ease of access while protecting the union at the same time, because, you know, in my ideal world, we would be using encrypted messaging. We would be not sending anything to people's work email addresses, but oftentimes that's what people do. They use their work email addresses, they use their work phone numbers, because that's when they do their union work, and it's how they keep it separate from their personal lives. So there's one or two people who were very union cautious in a employment I was engaging in. So we've never actually added each other on LinkedIn. We just message each other through the in-mail, which is when you're able to message people without being friends. And that's how we contact each other. So, you know, you have to be able to, you know, chop and change as things come up and make yourself accessible where you can. Obviously, sometimes it'd be great if you could meet someone in person, but it's not always possible.
Do you think you can develop a level of trust with people online the way you can when you're in person?
I think you can, if they can see you visually. Like, I will always try to get people to come onto a Teams call with me.
Yeah.
At least through operating my personal LinkedIn as well. They can look back and see posts as far as 2017 that I am a real person who has spent much of their life doing campaigns and organising, from students' unions to trade unions. So I think that does help, and I think it does help when you're able to meet them visually. This idea of email marketing our way into organising isn't the way forward. Like, yes, we need to streamline up communications. Yes, we need automations, but we don't want to make it so impersonal to the point where it feels like you're talking to an AI chatbot when you're in the airport, putting in your flight number, asking what gate you're coming into. Obviously, people need information support, but circumstances are usually so individual that they need to talk to a person. And for me, that's been a huge part of it as well. Like, I use the booking links from Microsoft as well, so that people can pick a slot to come and talk to me. And that's something I've kind of been telling other people within the organization to use, rather than doing this kind of back and forth of, are you free at this time? Are you free at this time? What days for you? Just make it easier for us to access. Because sometimes for people, they can feel like the union's very far away, or their small issue isn't important enough to get in contact, and it's kind of combating that.
And also, I think it's that difference between, you know, say you're a member of the union and you've been a member for a long time and you're in an organised workplace, then maybe there is a place for a chat bot for a quick query about something. But when you don't know, you know, you might be a new member of the union, or you might be in an unrecognised workplace, or like you're trying to organise the unrecognised, right? It is a different situation.
But even then, everything should go back to their representative or their fellow colleagues. If, you know, from the very first emails I send to potential members in our recognised employments, I'm putting a list of who is their representative at the bottom, because I want them to connect with their fellow colleagues. And oftentimes, I'm just the one who fills in their knowledge. I'm not the one who actually recruits them. But I was the link between their lack of knowledge and them connecting with an actual colleague in their workplace and becoming a union member and becoming a proud union member. Again, the goal is never that they just join and they have this vague concept of pay and job security and unions are a good thing. We want them to be high participating members of the union who understand its importance and how it affects not just their own workplace, but the wider financial and banking sector.
Yeah.
And that takes connecting people to people. They can't just talk to me as a staff member. My job is to facilitate the connection with their fellow colleagues and their fellow workers.
Yeah. How do you see like digital organising as a future way for the union movement to kind of operate? Are there changes that you think need to happen for this to be something viable in the union, or is there like new ways of doing things that you think, do you know what, Becky, even in a couple of years' time, I don't think digital organising is going to be something else? Like, what's your vision for the future, given?
I think that digital organising will need to grow and be present in more unions. There's very few people who don't have a digital presence in some form. Even people who don't have social media have an email address or a phone number, and we have to be present and contactable in those ways. I do think over time, and I am seeing it, where younger organisers and officials are coming in and they do have some level of digital skills already.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we do also see people coming in who are members and they weren't necessarily educated on a laptop, they were educated on iPads. So there's different digital skills they are missing. So I think there will always still be a need for digital organising.
Yeah.
You know, and I see myself often taking a lot of work off of industrial relations officers and off of traditional organisers, because it's not just a case of they may not have the digital proficiency to execute something, they may not have the time.
Yeah.
And they may not have the best way of doing it, while a digital organiser would have those competencies. One thing I would love to see is unions making more of an effort with their social media presence and content creation.
Right.
I think the real culture of assumption, people know unions are important, people know we do very important work, that can't keep carrying on. We need to be more present in other ways and be more colloquial. You know, looking at WhatsApp groups, looking at WhatsApp announcement channels, follow-up text messages. We can't assume that every email we send out is being read purely because it came from the union. It seems important. We are competing with so much digital buzz, and we're not necessarily doing the best to cut through the noise. So we need to look at content creators and digital organisers and how they can tie together. And how they can contact workers and represent potential. Like, we do need a wider education on unions and organising, rather than just focusing on workplaces and organising them individually, because we're seeing a whole generation fall behind and not really understanding. A lot of what I've done as well is I've specifically targeted the under 35s during our campaigns and done jargon busting, because a lot of our circulars would include terms that someone who's been in the bank for 15 years would understand, but they won't understand. So I think digital organising needs to grow, but it needs to grow in tandem with investment in good websites, good content creation. I have seen unions kind of invest more in digital marketing, and paid content is important, but we need to have good quality organic content as well that really breaks down what unions do. And is specifically targeted towards our employments and is speaking the language of our employments. So, you know, reaching out to finance workers and explaining things in the context of finance. Rather than using examples from the 1880s about factory workers. It's not relatable to a lot of them.